On the AER Bboy Bgirl podcast. All right. So our first topic of the evening is: would sex appeal help market breaking? Would sex appeal help market breaking? Hold on. So let me put some context to this particular topic, all right? You guys know how we do it right here on the AER Bboy Bgirl podcast. Now, there's a saying: sex sells. History has shown that you can apply that saying or any sexual theme or sexual content, to market almost any product or service. Now, I don't know if you guys go as far back as I do, but I remember once upon a time they used to have milk advertisements in magazines and billboards. Well, they'll have a dude, flat stomach, toned arms, chiseled chest with a fucking milk mustache. Or you would have, a woman with an hourglass body, voluptuous breasts, blonde hair, blue eyes with a fucking milk mustache. Yep. Now, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. Over time, I think they did a study. Milk ain't even good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
Yo, cigarettes used to have those kind of commercials too.
Cigarettes used to have the same commercials. Stuff, yeah. So whether you're marketing vehicles, fitness programs, movies, sexual themes can be advertised to almost any product, any service. So the question is, would sex appeal help market breaking? Now, I want to go to you first, Rich, with this particular question. Now,
I know.
I've seen you with your shirt off. Pause.
Hey, yo.
Hey, pause, all caps.
Pause. And you're in good shape for a middle-aged man.
Middle-aged, bro. Damn.
Well, homie, real talk. I mean, most men live to about 60, 70 years old and they die. You're half of that.
In the hood, the fuck?
You're half of that. And you're in good shape. You got a flat stomach. You got toned arms.
Thank you.
High cheekbones. You got something going on with the eyes there. You know what I mean?
Something going on with the eyes.
A lot of people people are attracted to him because of his...
Who are these people?
What's happening? Yo.
In your opinion,
oh man,
would sex appeal help market breaking?
Yes. God damn it. Yes, it would. Yes.
Okay.
That's an easy yes.
Elaborate.
I'm going to elaborate because we use break-in. In break-in, we don't use it effectively, but outside of break-in, when it comes to commercial shoots, movies, video shoots, freaking the Magic Mike show, all of that shit, they use break-in for that shit. The physicality that we bring, the athleticism, even the style, the dancing, etc., etc. All the fruits of that come from break-in that we've developed over X years. Someone off the street will just straight up be like, I want you to... This is for a watch commercial, but like take your shirt off and do a flare. And people's going, and it don't make no sense, but it works. It makes zero. Popular breaker is doing Haagen-Dazs.
I've seen guys put
people doing Haagen-Dazs.
Flares.
People,
yes.
Right. People, we promote energy drinks that we don't drink. We're promoting alcohols and things like that we don't even consume, like all kinds of stuff. Like, so... Listen, and that's something that's a weak point in break-in is the marketing of how we market our events, because we do want to grow it, right? And I feel like we've hit like a kind of a stall in how we market break-in, whether it be to the general public or to other breakers or for people to buy in, because those are three different, target audiences. So like, yes, sex sells. Should we be using it or whatever like that? Or some people may say exploiting it. If you're getting paid and it's consensual and all of that kind of stuff, then rock it. Then let it rock.
Okay. All right, let me move it over. Let's move the microphone over to Candy. Now, Candy, I follow you on the gram, and I notice you're not shy in front of the camera, okay?
No,
honey. I've seen you up in a bikini, up in some Jimmy Choos, some red bottoms, flexing for the gram, in front of the camera. Let's keep it real.
Period.
Yeah?
I am a moment, honey.
Okay, good. I'm glad you are. I want to do a hypothetical. Here on this show, we occasionally do hypotheticals to kind of put our guests in positions for more clarity perspective, okay? So let's do a hypothetical. All right. Now, suppose you were a break athlete. We know that 2024 Olympics is right around the corner. Paris 2024 Olympics, breaking is being introduced into the Olympics in 2024. Suppose you're one of these break athletes, right? Sports Illustrated approaches you and they say, you know what? We want to do a swimsuit edition with all the B-girls. You, Candy, not only will we compensate you for your photo shoot, but we're also willing to allocate a percentage back to the breaking community based on how many magazines are sold. We can allocate it through funding, through grants, whatever. As long as you do this photo shoot with Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. Now, you're kind of in two positions, right? A, you can say, hell yeah. Not only am I being compensated for my photo shoot, for my work, but my community, my culture also benefits. Sign me up. Or you can say, hell no. I have too much integrity for my body. In all honesty, this isn't what breaking is about. What do you say? Floor is yours.
First of all, Sports Illustrated, if you're listening, call me.
Oh, let's go, girl. Let's go.
100%, I'm saying yes. But that's because of me, who I am. And like you said, I'm not shy. And I think two things here.
Take your time.
Personally, for me, as I grew up and really embraced my femininity and womanhood, I was okay with showing my body. And I feel sexy and I don't care like to show it. Some other women are not like that. That's fine. That it just depends on who you are. But I feel like within our culture, that is really not embraced or encouraged. I think B-girls are mostly told you can be cute, but you can't be sexy. You can be hot, but you can't do too much. When you do too much, people start talking shit. Plain and simple. Like, you will, like, I've heard things said about me, whatever. She might think she's this, whatever. Honestly, I don't care. But it's like there's a limit to how feminine you can be before it becomes too much for the certain people in the community or the community overall. So I think that's probably why for B-girls, the sexy thing isn't used as much or used at all to market it. Because like you said, it's not hip hop, even though that's BS because the other side of hip hop uses
I think it is hip hop.
sexual.
I mean, to a certain extent, you
like,
can say it's hip hop.
yeah, like hip hop, the MCs are totally
And if you
using
look at
sex.
like Meg Thee Stallion,
like, they use
Nicki
sex.
Minaj, Cardi,
Yeah, when you
they
see,
stay showing their
you know,
goodies.
if you see a woman hosting certain events that shall remain nameless, and they're up there looking sexy, it's like, wow, look at her, the host, she's sexy. But if a B-girl goes up there being super sexy, sometimes it's like she can do it to an extent before it starts to like make her dance look like get criticized in a way or whatever.
Well, not for
There's-
nothing. If I could jump in real quick, you were once a fitness model. You were on stage.
I
or
competed in bikini competitions.
In bikini com-
yeah, but bodybuilding.
bodybuilding. Yes.
Yes, and I did. I placed top 4 in England, so yeah, I competed at a higher level, and so I feel like that actually helped me embrace it because before that, if I was gonna post a bikini picture, I would think about like, what is actually the B-boy B-girl community gonna say about this? Like, oh my god,
Specifically,
Because-
the B-boy B-girl.
yes,
community?
because I would get people messaging me about it. Isn't that a little too much? Isn't that this? We're women in hip hop. That's not.
Oh shit.
That's
Oh shit.
that's not.
Cover up. Cover up. What are
yeah,
you doing?
That's not respectful. Like, men are already looking at us in that way, and now you're like exposing it. So like, instead of looking at your skills, they're looking at your butt and like, and I'm like, I'm okay with them looking at my butt, and I'm also okay with them telling me I'm dope. Like, I'm really okay with both because at the end of the day, I know who I am, and I know how I carry myself, and I know that the integrity I have within myself. So I don't really care. But it took me a very long time to get there. And it took me really having a baby, going through some things in life to really like embrace it and be okay with like some people aren't gonna like that you do this, but if that's how you feel, if you feel good about it, it's okay. And yeah, I do think that if we embraced it, we could probably market breaking in a different way. However, I think it's hard. Like women are now, you're seeing girls be really like embrace their femininity within breaking, but still it's hard also because some of the girls are really young, so you kind of have to be careful with that too. There's a line.
Okay.
But I think if we embraced it, it would help market it. Yes, that's the initial question. I think it would help market it, particularly 21 and up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Candy. Rock's right. I want to do somewhat of a similar situation, right? Now, I'm not going to ask you what your contractual agreement is with Red Bull, but suppose another company came along, right? And they said, not only will we match your contractual agreement, but we're willing to give you better benefits, more incentives. Any company, but it has to be kind of related to a sexual theme. We'll say like Under Armour, right? Under Armour underwear, right? But they had specific details within their contract, within their terms and conditions that you have to abide by. You know, you have to wear the gear. We need to know if there's sweat absorption, if it's aerodynamic, if we can even promote it to breakers. We need to do photo shoot with you in your underwear. And not only that, we need you to be under a certain weight class. So you can't be fat, you got to be chiseled, things of that nature. In your opinion, obviously, if that's the situation, hold on, let's take our time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if that's the situation, right, it's geared toward a sexual appeal that they want. Rock's right.
Yeah.
Up in an underwear. You know what I mean? Package showing and all, right? What says you, homie? Would you do it? Under Armour, Speedo, things of that nature.
Speedo's a good one.
Well, first I have to get in shape, right? When they want a certain weight class, I have to drop that weight and get shredded up. I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, the money's right, everything's right, but I think it depends on the way the marketing comes, right? Because right now, a lot of brands they'll come with these ideas, and it like makes breaking look corny. So it's just kind of misused instead of the lifestyle being used. So, for example, say I do pose in my underwear, but I've been working out and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I've been like getting myself on top of game, right? So if I did that, I personally wouldn't care to do it. I would just be like, all right, cool, I'll do it. But I think if they were to be like, yo, we need you to do like an L kick or like a chair freeze or like a head spin, like then it's different because I think it's more about the story than it is about the movement. And I think in what we're struggling with right now at this whole thing we're in right now with the Olympics and everything coming up is that's what's happening. So you have these brands coming in and it's hard to translate and hard to, like the way they're navigating with breaking and the way they're utilizing breaking, I feel like it's not the right way because it feeds into the old methods of the 80s and the way people viewed breaking in the 80s.
Okay.
So I think it's being misused in a way where it's like breakdancing breakers at the Olympics, and it's like do a bunch of moves and then like let me do this. To me,
cut
that's
that check, homie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. Take the check, run with the money. It's all good. I'm speaking for the people coming in, the outside sources.
Okay.
So the way that they're using breaking is that they're using it in a way where it's like whack to me.
Gotcha.
So as long as I wasn't doing it like that, I'm with it.
So let's flip the company, okay? Because we're trying to promote sex appeal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, 90% of our breaking community is male dominant.
Mm.
What if fucking Trojan pulled up and they were like, ooh, Magnum
Trojan
pulled up,
money.
and they were like, listen, Rox, we need you to wear a fucking beanie that says
And
Jimmy Cap.
It never breaks.
It never breaks. I just got that. Did you get that?
I don't know.
I just got that.
That's a
Some
tough
kid
one.
did a
That's
move
tough
today
one.
he thought it never broke.
So to what point? I'm asking. We same situation, same scenario, different company because many people were motivated by sex appeal.
For sure.
The company is Magnum. They're fitting to cut that check. What says you, Rox?
I mean, it's sex
Here's the
education,
contract.
right? You
Sign it.
got
a 7-digit.
If you're gonna teach people to be smart about sex, then yeah. In that sense, I feel like you're educating the community to
Through
be wiser. Yeah, through breaking. So, in a way, yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yo, to add
I
in,
break, but the condom don't.
Okay, I don't know. See, I don't know about lines like that though. As long as I ain't gotta say no shit like that, I think we good.
She got one.
As long as I don't gotta say some shit like that, I'll be alright.
Don DeMarco.
Damn, Candy's on one, and she ain't even sipping. Oh my god.
Yo, Rick. But
Yo.
also, that's what I was saying. To go back to that's what I was saying is like a lot of outside sources grab just one little piece of breaking, like a move or like a look, or even two of the dozens of things that breaking has to offer, and they take them little bits and pieces and then they put it in their commercial and they tour and blah 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 and flip over this truck, and like I'm over shit like that. Like
Exactly, but
that, you know what I mean? Like it's like, first of all, anybody could do that. That's not a breaking specific thing, and that's not what breaking is. So it gets misconstrued. Like, just to add on to that.
Okay, so
It's hard to sell a package.
Last question.
Don't be corny. Sorry.
yeah, I guess it's more.
It's the
like-
corniness aspect of it, because there's being sexual and sexy that can be done in a way that's dope. You know, like that's fresh.
Yeah, it's how it's done.
But it's how it's done. Like he says, if he's doing an L kick in a speedo, it's like okay. But if like you have you have a full photo shoot or something where you're doing things that you look cool in your speedos, and then you happen to mention that
I like that
they're
perspective.
breakers, like it's cool. Again, even with like B girls, like if you're I think the sexy thing gets misconstrued where they say to like B girls, I think it'd be cool if you be a bit more sexy, and then they start coming out, and in the middle of the round they like go like this, and it's like that's not sexy, that's just corny, honey.
Ooh, let's go.
But if they
you got both of them. Let's go.
Candy's on one. Salute to Candy. You know,
Killing it. Boom.
but then you have a B girl, like there's certain B girls that come out and they just exude like sexiness. Like they're not even doing like these little weird sexual movements. It's just the way they carry themselves. Maybe the way they're dressed is a little bit more provocative, but not like extra, like not corny. So it's just it's how you do things. Like you can bring sex into the picture and market it without being corny.
Yeah, exactly. It's just about, I think it's more about packaging the lifestyle. It's the way we live. It's more about that than it is about the moves that we're utilizing to be recognized for, because the masses will never understand that we do in the scene. And I think that's where the separation happens, because the scene will never support that. But then if we don't even get the masses to understand what we do, then it's hard. It's a hard sell.
I feel you. All right, so let me ask this last question with regards to this particular topic, and then we'll move on to our next. So, as many of you guys know, our community is universal, okay? There's a mass amount of different personalities, different mentalities that are in our scene. Let me do a quick hypothetical. Well, it's not too much of a hypothetical because I'll break it down. Suppose an adult film star, okay, male or female, is deeply involved in breaking. Suppose this particular person wanted to cross-promote to pull in a larger audience. Now, I know someone, well, I don't know someone personally, but there is a person in the breaking community who is affiliated with the adult industry. Now, suppose this person wanted to cross-promote and utilize an adult theme from the adult industry to help promote breaking. Would it be appropriate? Before you answer, and I'm going to go around the table, I'm going to start with Rich. Two things to think about, okay? We're living in 2023, and, you know, the gender empowerment movement is huge. It's huge, you know, and it's supported by many. Most people would say, listen, you can't tell me what I can or cannot do. However, there's many people in society, let alone our community, would say that bringing in someone from the adult industry, the adult film industry, could potentially spill too much toxic influence into the breaking scene, and that's not the space for it. So, in your opinion, do you think should someone bring in, whether it's a sponsorship, an endorsement deal, to help fund, help generate, help elevate the breaking scene through the adult industry?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I feel like you have to be like, I think that's where we separate like throwing jams at a bar where you have to be 21 and over. And then it's like adult stuff, the adult like industry, you want to be at a certain age to be able to promote that type of product. to our community, because I mean, you know, I think everybody parents their kids different, so I don't know how certain people do it, but yeah, it's like once they're at that legal age, then it's like they can choose what they want to go be a part of and everything, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I can't say like yes or no. It just depends. I think you would have to separate that. Then you have to create this whole like 18 and over event or 21 and over event, because I personally wouldn't want like to put my kids in an environment to see that, you know.
Right. Candy, you were talking that sexy talk earlier.
Yeah, but I did specifically say that it's 21 and up earlier because for that very reason. Because yeah, I think when it comes to kids, it's a totally different ball game, and we have to be aware of that. We also have a lot of youth in our scene, and so we also, like, as adults, yeah, do what you do. And like I said before, it took me for a long time to be able to embrace my femininity and sexuality or whatever, and that didn't happen until after I had children. So I think we, like we even said even earlier, we gotta let kids be kids. So I'm not trying to like expose the youth in our community to anything like that.
No sponsorships through Pornhub, no grants through all these other crazy websites. No. Keep your fucking money. We don't need it.
I think that's...
Stick it in your ass.
I don't... Wow, that's very graphic.
I'm asking. That's a question. I'm asking.
The question.
I personally think that if it's like he said, separating the two, I'm not inviting kids to an event sponsored by Hennessy.
Henny's for the hood, though. Well, take Henny out of it. Let's do...
Sponsored by any kind of alcoholic brand. If you go to Vegas and you go to a party in Vegas, you're not going to see anyone under 21 at these parties because they are strictly for adults. If it's a strictly for adult event or something like that, and it happens to have breakers, if that's sponsored by an over 21 sponsor, fair enough. But when it comes to the Olympics and stuff like that, no, we're not going to have anyone sponsored by Pornhub or whatever.
Let me jump in real quick. I appreciate what you're saying. Wasn't there an event that was recently sponsored by Manscaped? Are you guys familiar with that?
I am very familiar with Manscaped.
There was an event that was recently sponsored by Manscaped. And for those of you guys out there that are not familiar with the company Manscaped or the product Manscaped, they focus on grooming particular areas of your body for the man body. Can we kind of equate the same concept with regards to sponsorship, grants, endorsement deals with something similar to that?
I don't think so. Because I think Manscaped is, like you said, it's specific to something. It's grooming. It's not, you don't have to sexualize grooming. You can groom because it's hygienic, you know, like, the other thing is, what is Pornhub, Mom? Well, now I gotta have a conversation.
I gotta have the combo.
Like, it's totally different. If my kid asked me what Manscaped is, I'd be like, Dad, you need to sit down and have a conversation with him about hygiene and grooming, and it's gonna happen anyway, you know, whatever. That's a conversation that I wouldn't be uncomfortable having. The Pornhub conversation is a very uncomfortable conversation, and one that I don't think any kid needs to be having anyway till they're like way older. So I just think we don't need to be like, I don't understand why breaking has to be this whole everybody thing all the time. We can have adults and have an adult scene, and we can have a young scene, and it's with kids, you know, like, I think maybe in our time, we're so used to being mixed with everyone. For example, me being 16 years old, hanging out with 30-something-year-olds was a very common thing because it was just one scene. We've gotten to the point now where our scene is that big that we can start differentiating things, ages, and creating boundaries that need to actually happen, because there's a lot of things in this world that are happening, like consent and safe sport and all this other stuff that's coming into the picture, where it's actually important to do that, to start being like, yo, there's actually an adult scene in this scene and there's a youth scene, and
I agree.
Separate the two.
If I could jump in real quick, Candy, because I want to respond to what you're saying, and I do think it's important because nowadays, even not just in our culture, not just in our community, but in society alone, it's like we're opening up the doors, we're opening up the floodgates to a certain extent to allow outside influence spill into our culture to the point where it's no longer even about breaking, it's about societal issues, political issues. You know what I mean? So if we're the type of culture, right, quote unquote culture, because the definition of culture is standards based on a collective, which means parameters, rules, guidelines, things of that nature. If we're going to open up to outside influence, potentially could it be toxic? Could we be allowing the outside to kind of inspire us to move a particular different way? Is it something that would be acceptable? Is it something that, you know, the breaking community would say, you know, it doesn't really matter. Nobody can tell you what you can or cannot do. If it's going to benefit us, why not run with it? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. But that's also why, again, that comes into like the adult scene and the kid scene. If you give a kid something, an outside influence, they're going to let it change whatever's happening because kids are so easily influenced.
Yeah, but
Whereas like I can go at an event, know that it's sponsored by an alcoholic brand, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to start drinking all the time before a jam or let it like change how I look at breaking, because as an adult, I can look at something and be like, that's just a sponsor. We making money, but we're here for the jam. I can make that different. Like I can make that different.
Conscious decision.
Yeah, that
yes.
conscious decision of like, I know what that's here for, and it doesn't change the culture for me. It just right now this is who's paying the bills.
Okay.
yeah.
Rich, what's your thoughts on this particular question?
I have a couple thoughts, man.
Take your time, homie. Take your time.
Nah, it's so.
Baby,
This
you
also
can
goes.
do
This
it.
taps
Take
into
your time. Do it
to the
right.
marketing aspect, right? It taps into the marketing aspect. It taps into who's saying yes to the hub when they say we want to help sponsor your breaking jam. Well, what does that mean, right? Does that mean that we shooting a video in between battles, like after top 8, we're gonna
Sometimes
film
it's
this
just
scene.
putting up
We're gonna
a
film a
poster.
scene.
No,
Right.
sometimes it's just putting up a poster.
Sometimes it's putting up a poster. Sometimes
flyer.
filming a whole scene. Sometimes like XYZ. I think we have to just be more conscious, and that's something of just maturity in the scene and the people like of our age or in our stature, I guess, that are making these decisions, like these tougher decisions, or like who gets in and who is not part of our culture, or who can buy into our scene or borrow a piece of our scene, or all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, but also at the end of the day, you know, especially in America, capital is capital, right? Like we need the funds, right?
So are you for it or
So-
are you not for it? I'm trying to understand.
I'm saying it depends on what the contract says or what the contract is.
Rich Nice on the fence.
Yeah.
Right. So no, and this is also like y'all kind of went somewhere else. I didn't even hear the part about the kids where that came in because y'all started talking about kids. We are in a time though where there are a lot of younger people and stuff like that, and obviously, yes, it should be separated when it comes to like those kind of sponsors. However, we are in a time where like 2 weeks ago I was in a bar after party with kids there, and it was just like, what's going on? Like to be
Should I cut
honest,
his mic? Should I cut his mic?
Yes. and yeah, like, and that's what I'm talking about.
that it was uncomfortable. No, it was
That's
an uncomfortable. It
uncomfortable.
was an uncomfortable situation, and that's just that. Is not the kids was drinking, but it was just like just being in that space like that. I was like, this isn't what.
Yeah, let's be sensitive.
What
when
we're
we're
trying
talking
to
about
shoot
kids.
for. You know, no, I'm not name
I
dropping.
understand what
I'm
you're
not,
saying.
you know what I mean?
understand.
I'm just saying this is not what we should be trying to shoot for. There was a better way to do that. That's all I'm saying. So therefore it goes back to, okay, whose decision was that was able to happen? You know what I mean? Like, of course we want all the positivity and we want, you know, the influx and all of this and to spread the good name of breaking or whatever you want to call that.
Gotcha.
But just like, you know, we have those brands of the adult industry and XYZ, there's a million other industries that can, you know, knock on our door or that we could tap into and stuff like that. So like when it comes specifically to that, it falls on us, because at the end of the day, we're the ones saying yes or no, right? Somebody's letting it rock. Right? You know what I mean? Somebody's letting it rock. So it's like somebody's letting it rock and somebody's saying no. They could be like, yo, I'll give you $2 million, you know, but I want kids doing this, or I want women doing that, or I want the guys even doing that. And it'd be like, nah, this is crazy. This is not helping the scene. This
Yeah,
is,
I
you
think
know what I mean? Like,
even then, I think separating it would be very difficult because those battles would go online, and they
Right.
would probably want the promo on the thing, and the kids would still watch it. So I don't know. I think for me, maybe it would be a no
yeah.
overall.
Yeah,
I think it's
Next
just
was a no.
not everything's good, right? Sometimes we gotta
but
be more conscious, I guess.
I'll say two things to that. The first thing is, one example I can give is I did a performance in another country. This performance was it was a strictly adult event, and I saw various kinds of hip hop styles and other things being performed, but they were mostly to like adult themes. Not necessarily always sexual, but just things it was an 18 and up event. It was drinking, whatever. This wasn't recorded. It was never posted online. You wouldn't know about it unless I told you about it, basically.
I've done like that differently though. I've
Yeah,
done-
so that's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be a level of control over these things. You wouldn't just post it on, because I thought about that too. I'm like, well, if
yeah.
they see it online and the banner's there, of course they're gonna wonder still. There's that. But then the other thing that I wanted to bring was we really have to, when we make these choices, think about what the effect is gonna be and how we're using it, and not necessarily rejecting things just because they sound scary, because there have been other things within the scene, certain sponsors, again, who shall remain nameless, that other people did not love the idea of being part of the scene because they weren't supposedly the best thing for breakers in terms of health or whatever.
Representation.
And representation. But these sponsors actually changed the game and brought in so much revenue to breaking, brought in fans, brought in a level of competition that has now changed the game and has done so much so many things that initially we were scared of as a culture, and are now helping a lot of B-boys and B-girls, creating jobs, creating things. So I think like there's a big benefit that we just have to, like Rich said, start thinking of ways that we can control it or not control it, but collaborate and use it in a way that helps breaking, rather than straight up being like, nah, straight away, that's not hip hop and whatever, and maybe possibly closing a door that could really like open up some revenue for us or do something different for the scene.
Okay.
Because why does it have to sexualize breaking? Why can't we break-in-lize that industry? You know what I mean? Why we always have to fold to something else?
Well,
We can bring
that's
them
the
closer in
question,
line
Rich.
into us, you know
And
what I mean?
before I go back, I want you to finish.
Yeah.
But before I go to you, final thoughts with regards to, would sex appeal help market breaking? So you're suggesting, why can't we utilize sex appeal to promote breaking? But
rather than promote some other random
promote sex
cigarettes and sex
with
and
breaking.
actual sex, right? Like,
it makes sense. I hear
rather
you.
than breaking, you know what I mean? Like, and as Candy was saying, you know, that is looked down upon. Like, you could be cute, but you can't be hot. Like, blah blah blah. Like, you know, that fine line and stuff like that. And I've noticed, especially lately, where like there's like a very positive movement, especially for B-girls and things like that, because there's a lot of competition just for B-girls, and they kind of have their own spaces, and hopefully, quote unquote, we're getting to better places with that. But where they can be themselves more, where they don't have to wear the baggy stuff and blah 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 and act like a B-boy and be throwing the cock and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like,
I think those days are over.
right? Well, no, it's some of them still is doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so and it's cool because they're emulating what's going on. That's what we were talking about way earlier about, like, you copy the format to be successful. That's the meta, or like the algorithm of successful breaking is that. However, when you do change the mold and you wear your earrings, your hair out, blah, 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 you wear clothes that you wanted to wear, you know what I mean? Like, instead of like, no, I just need to wear all black because blah, blah, blah. Like,
Gotcha.
That's all positive stuff, like, to
Gotcha.
me. And
Gotcha.
I think we're heading to a better
Okay.
place.
Final thoughts, Candy, with regards to, would sex appeal help market breaking?
Final thoughts. I think that one thing that would help breaking is us having more fans, and reaching a broader audience. And I think that sex appeal can help with that. But I also think that we need to stop thinking as sex appeal as this like massive sexualization of women in the culture or even men. Because I think when men do it, it's actually like not as frowned upon. It's like, oh, he just took off his shirt, it's kind of hot, or whatever. But with women, it's a bigger deal in my opinion. But I think we need to stop looking at it as like, oh, she gonna be out there like shaking her butt or something. No, like we can actually just start like I don't know, like embracing the fact that someone is sexy and in a very like simple way. Like sexy can be very like demure and respectful, whatever. It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing, which is what I think the fear is, because we see it in hip hop and others, the genres. It can get a little bit extra, which is cool. But I think like if you give an example, if it's like B girl so and so, and like she does a photo shoot for Sports Illustrated that doesn't even, maybe not even a bikini one, whatever. But now all of a sudden we see her in a different light, and the rest of the world sees her, and they're like, "Oh, who's that girl? Like she's beautiful." Like, and then you find out she's actually the top B girl in the world. And then you're like, "What's a B girl? Oh, this whole breaking thing." And then you're starting to follow this culture, and all of a sudden you're vested into what's happening into that. And it's bringing in a broader audience. So,
Facts.
like, and I think that's going to bring in some fans. Like, who's not a fan of a hot girl or guy? Like, come on, and even, and hotness is so subjective that it can be so broad. So why not, like, utilize that? It doesn't have to be this next level, like, Pornhub situation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Candy. Rock's right. Final thoughts with regards to, can sex appeal help market?
Of course, yeah, I think it can. Definitely, I think it's just like Candy was saying, reaches a broader audience. Maybe somebody comes across an article of a person in the scene that's doing a lot of things and they don't even know they break it. It creates more awareness. It comes with everything, but like I said, for me, it's more about how it's presented and how it's told. So it's more about the lifestyle that we live as B-boys and B-girls. I think is just something that is beyond the norm. And it can be utilized. And yeah, sex appeal is a way to go, I think, to push to a broader like community. I think we definitely could do that. I think we benefit from it. Okay. I think it already happens anyways. It's already happening right now as we speak. So. As we speak, it's already happening, but we're not, because we're so in this that we don't even realize it. We're just kind of so like, oh, that's so-and-so, and they're killing it, and this person's this. But the reality is it's already going down. So whether you agree with it or not, it's already happening right now as we speak.
All right. Thank you, guys.